Yeah, so good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm glad to introduce these three experts here in single-pair Ethernet. This is the third session, I think, about single-pair Ethernet. For me, the most difficult one,
Yeah.
because I'm from LANline, and honestly, I'm not an expert in the technical details of single-pair Ethernet. I think, yes, all the companies you're coming from, I think, are well known in the section of this industry, but probably not for everyone. So it may be worth to have a brief introduction about what you're doing and how long you are on the business, for example. Maybe Henry can begin.
Okay, hi. I'm Henry Muyshondt. I work for Microchip Technology, Inc. Microchip is a leading supplier of smart, connected, and secure embedded control solutions.
Mm-hmm.
So we make a lot of microcontrollers and Ethernet and USB and analog processing, all kinds of chips and semiconductors that go into the devices that talk to each other using single-pair Ethernet.
And you're based in the United States?
I am based in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
But we are an international company. We have offices here in Germany and really all around the world, although the headquarters are in Chandler, Arizona.
Okay.
And I've been in the industry for about 40 years in the electronics industry. And I am now responsible for our 10-base T1S applications in the industrial world.
Okay. And Yuri, please.
Yeah, so at Zemfyre, we develop and manufacture industrial communication equipment. Most of our products on this show are based on single-pair Ethernet.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great technology that we think it's a very revolutionary technology that solving the problem of end-to-end Ethernet connectivity in industrial networks. Mm-hmm. And Single-Pair Internet Alliance did a really good job here to put together a number of companies.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's over 40 right now that relentlessly working on creating new products and accelerating adoption of this great technology.
Okay, thank you. And David, please.
Thank you, Jörg. My name is David Bessonen. I work for Telebyte. Telebyte is based in Hauppauge, New York on Long Island. And Telebyte has been in business since 1983. And we make single-pair Ethernet test instruments. So currently we're working on testing the Ethernet advanced physical layer.
Okay.
So we have the conformance testing for the data and the power specifications. So we're working with Zemfyre and not yet Microchip, but when we get into the 10-base T1L market, we test basically the data and power testing. And we automate it, so we help companies make sure that they're conformant. And we have automated testing so they can have a high throughput and repeatable test results. And we're working with a number of companies here in Germany. And it's been a pleasure attending the Hannover Messe show with the Single-Pair Ethernet System Alliance.
When I'm preparing this conversation, I read three parts of what you're doing: conformance testing, interoperability testing, and test during product development. Can you briefly explain what the difference are? What
Sure. So when we've been visiting companies in Germany and the U.S., we go in sometimes in the R&D groups, and we're in the lab, and there'll be products in different phases, and they want to test, first of all, the PHY chip level. They might want to look at the
testing means testing against what? Some standards or some.
Yes, the physical layer. So the Ethernet APL spec has a data test.
Okay.
So they have PMA testing for the transmitter level. And so you might want to look at the return loss or vary some components on the coupling circuits. So we help them test to make sure their signals are compliant and move on to the next design phase. So we can help customers even if the design isn't fully completed yet.
So I may add to this that basically here you have representative of different pieces at creating this great single-pair Ethernet technology. We have component vendor. We are the system vendor that develop the equipment. And we have a test Telebyte that does develop the test fixtures, test systems to test, and also developing the new standards for this technology. So we are kind of developing and and working towards adoption of this technology.
Are the standards already ready and perfect or evolving?
There are standards at the moment, but like IEEE 802.CG, but not yet on the testing. That's why Telebyte is developing testing standards for this technology.
Yes, so we are all here together in the SPE System Alliance stand because this is new technology. Even though there are standards, the standard doesn't specify everything that needs to be done. And there's also connector makers and cable makers, and we're all working together to enable the whole industry to quickly pick up the technology over the next few years. We make the part that injects the signal on the cable, and then they use those signals for higher level components. And as you're developing things, you need to test them and make sure that they're compliant. But at the end of the day, single pair Ethernet is just a physical layer. Higher up, it's Ethernet. You transport Ethernet frames over it.
That's the advantage.
All the software, all the hardware is the same. You just change the thing that connects to the wire. And that can be connected at 100 megabits per second or at 10 megabits per second or 1,000 megabits.
In principle, I think you're making the PHYs.
We make the chips that transform.
Can you talk a little bit about market opportunities in terms of number of installed PHYs and revenues and so on?
Well, the market is still developing at this point, but through this Single Pair System Alliance, there have been market studies made where within a few years we'll be at 50 million nodes and growing up to several 100 million nodes in the near future. You know, by 2030, you should see kind of like a hockey stick curve shape taking off and there are different variants of single pair Ethernet for the different speed grades and the different distances, and there'll be a little bit of variation in how each one of those develops.
So the economic situation is very positive, I think.
Yes, it's very interesting. Very interesting.
There's one dangerous thing. It's the question about China and Taiwan, perhaps.
What do you mean by
availability of chipsets and so on?
Well, semiconductor suppliers have different fabs. There is a lot of dependence on Taiwan, but Microchip also has its own internal fabs, so we try to make sure that we keep all that in mind.
Let's talk a little bit about the technical evolution in terms of data rates, for example. What can we expect within the next 2 or 3 years? What do you think?
Well, right now, we see the sweet spot right now, the T1L standard, like for our company. That's most products we have, because it allows a reach of over 1 kilometer of a single pair twisted pair line, and also delivering power to the end devices, sensors and actuators. And we see lots of interest in developing this specific technology. And another thing I just want to add that there is a multitude of disparate networks at the moment for sensors and actuators. And single pair Ethernet we see it's really technology of the future, because simply Ethernet always wins. So that's why we see within a year that single pair Ethernet will take over connectivity to the end of field level devices. Also at Zemfyre, we develop patent-based technology to increasing security, because exposing sensors and actuators to the network with all the great benefits raise some concern on security. And we defined a new class of devices they call secure and managed switches that extend the level of security to the next level. So we are very excited about this technology and the future that it creates.
When I read about Zemfyre, I read Secure IoT Cloud. I think it's a very special offering in terms.
Well, for now, we expanding security from a physical layer. As Henry mentioned, technology is a physical layer security, but we're going towards the higher level, so specifically for unmanaged switches and make them secure, and then we will continue this path to the cloud.
At the end, this is the goal of single pair Ethernet to
well, the goal is the connectivity.
Yes.
What it creates as a physical layer is the connectivity to the field level devices like sensors and actuators. But by connecting them to the network, we need to make sure that they're going to be secure as well. So there are
The nice thing about Ethernet is that there are security mechanisms already defined for it. It's used in everything from banking applications to all sorts. And SPE is just a physical layer, but all those security mechanisms already exist. Because it's Ethernet, you can run it at that level, or you can run it all the way up to the cloud. And we also make chips that help better secure the links, but it's Ethernet, so we use all the same things that Ethernet uses.
Is it more difficult to implement these secure topics into SPE compared to Office Ethernet, for example?
No, it's the exact same mechanism. And also, if there's a breach or somehow it gets broken, you have the whole world looking at it to fix it quickly. And if it's fixed for one type of Ethernet, it's fixed for the other.
Okay.
So that's a big advantage over having to define your own special protocol and interconnection, that you now have to develop a special security mechanism for that kind of technology.
Are there some special segments of the industry that are more interesting in single pair Ethernet than others? I mean, to what kind of people do you talk, for example, on this Hannover Messe?
I
Question to all of you.
yeah. So
Go ahead.
Well, we see a lot the process control industry.
Okay.
So single pair Ethernet is quite flexible in delivering
It
power.
starts at the automotive
It's also
segment.
automotive, yes,
Yes.
for 10 base 2NS and 100 base T1. For the process control, they're interested in sending Ethernet longer than 100 meters. So you can do extremely low voltage and low current for intrinsically safe two-wise environments. Then you can also go up to 1,000 meters and do testing that way. So Ethernet, as Henry and Yuri mentioned, is well known. It's ubiquitous. And so everyone moving into Ethernet can take and leverage the applications that are available running over Ethernet.
But this is a good point. Is sustainability and power consumption, is this also a point at this time? Or
well, it's really
development?
right. So single pair Ethernet also solving the problem of powering field level devices, because it does have standard. It's called PUDL, power over data line, that you can power field level devices over 1,000 meters, and that lots of benefits for industries like factory automation, process automation that David mentioned, specifically for like APL, and so that really huge benefits to and also we see some different applications, like even video surveillance. So you can extend cameras to 1,000 meters. We have reliable communication, not wireless, but wired, and cost effective. So a number of different applications coming to play as well.
Okay. And the power consumption of the parts itself, it's also a topic?
We're always paying attention to power consumption, and we have very low power consumption when the parts are asleep.
Okay.
That you can power them down, you can power the links down, and then power them back up. So there's whole mechanisms defined for
So this is optimized by design, so to say.
Yes, from when we start working on the parts, we're looking at that and making sure that it's also robust, impervious, that it doesn't get affected by electromagnetic interference from the outside world, that it doesn't cause EMC problems to the outside world. The particular products that I work on are more the 10 base T1S, which is a short reach, but that short reach, the advantage it has is that it's multi-drop, so you only need one wire and the devices connect to that wire, they don't have to go through a switch, so you don't need gateways, and you save a lot on, from a green perspective, that you need fewer components.
So the overall balance is perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would just want to add
Yes.
regarding power consumption. So powering field-level devices is extremely important. That's one of the huge benefits of single-pair Ethernet. So at Zemfyre, we actually have a patent-pending technology how to efficiently convert single-pair Ethernet power standard PUDL, power the data line, to power sensors, actuators, PoE cameras, and we have patent pending how to do it efficiently with almost negligible power loss. So that's an area of our, we are focusing as a system company, of course, on that as well.
Do we also need field testing equipment in the future, or is it already there?
Well, for sure. So companies are interested in trying to reuse legacy cables. So there will be solutions coming out for the field group to qualify cables. There's companies out there right now that have, Fluke and AEM and other test equipment, but I'm sure we're going to see new products coming in that help the technicians quickly qualify existing cable to see where we can get the single-pair Ethernet links working.
And for system vendors, what David just mentioned, there is huge installed base of serial connectivity, serial cables, which is exactly the same media as for single-pair Ethernet. So with test equipment, when you qualify these channels on already installed base, we created lots of opportunities for brownfield installation, having our system working on existing installed base of copper interfaces. So altogether, this is huge potential in the industry.
And today is Thursday. What do you think about Hannover Messe at the fourth day?
It's very interesting to be here.
Okay.
I see many of our customers around. I'm here very glad to be with the SPE System Alliance, cooperating with different aspects of the industry coming together to better enable it. And there's a lot of energy, and it's a very, I'm very glad to be here.
Would you like to add something?
Well, the same as Henry mentioned. This is a really great show and really great for single-pair Ethernet. So Single-Pair Ethernet Alliance this year, the first time, put together booth, and many vendors came with their products, which otherwise the same vendors that actually compete on the marketplace, but come here together to support each other and work on promoting and developing this technology. And there's a lot of interest, and our booth is really crowded, so that's great.
David?
Yeah, it's quite interesting because these companies that make switches and load devices, they compete in the market, but you can see a mutual cooperation in supporting the growth of single-pair Ethernet. So we have the standards organizations like the PI, P&O, ODVA, OPC, Philcom Group. They're all working together to promote the technology, and companies like Weidmuller and Phoenix Contact and Pepperl & Fuchs are all testing and really helping the industry define the testing standards so that the products will be successful once they're deployed.
So it's not only a product show, but also for you a meeting of the community, so to say.
That's true. So we met several of the standards test labs, and we really see a really positive, optimistic growth for this single-pair Ethernet market.
This Ethernet is a communication technology, and it only works if both sides communicate in the same language.
Right.
So it's really important that even though people compete on let's say, making a switch or something like that, it's important that that switch can talk to the next switch from maybe a different company or some field device from the next company. So we all have to work together. It's the only way to make this technology successful.
That's a good statement. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Vielen Dank.
Vielen Dank.
Dankeschön.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yuri.